It is I, the ogre magi of your mind, your main man, returned, John Deere hat and all, to speak to you about story design, simplicity versus complexity. Now, I got to thinking about this after watching a video that Disavow put out regarding some old school style of game. Gosh, I'm trying to think, what was it called? Dungeon Crawl Classics, I think was the name of his video. It was a good video. I quite enjoyed it. A game that I hadn't taken a look at, something from Goodman's Games. And in the comment section, we got to speaking about something I had looked at from Goodman Games, which are Dungeon Crawl Classic modules. Now, that got me on to thinking about this. Now, I haven't read all these modules, haven't looked through them all, but they bring out something that is very common, particularly in those old style of fantasy modules, and not just Dungeons and Dragons, from a large number of different games. I see that constrictive, tight-viewed, narrow window, hat cliche style of writing, which is a game I absolutely don't want to play in. I didn't want to play in it when I was 12, and I sure as hell don't want to play in it now. It's like playing Super Mario Brothers. You got to run to the castle, kill all the bad guys on the road, get the princess, dip out, you're done. There's no level of moral ambiguity. There's no grayness. There's no cloudiness. There's no murkiness in the waters. There is no real ability to have that explosive change, that interest in your character. It's all about playing a role-playing by numbers style. And of course, that's largely what modules are, but it also, to not just knock on modules, but talk about that style. Because I see a lot of people out there, because they've learned and taken that style and say, well, only a fantasy game can only be this particular cliche. It can only have this type of characters. They have to conform to this model. And when you have someone that gets that idea stuck in their mind, they can't think outside the box. They can't, all the parts come across undone, bouncing across, and the game dies. They suffer from burnout right off the bat when somebody does something out of the box. When, particularly that person doesn't quite know what they're doing there. But to play against the grain often becomes something very desired by someone that's continually in that same situation, right? It's always over and over and over again. Oh, well, we have to have the heroes, and the heroes have to perform in this way. They have to tell this story. Well, after a while, how many times can we tell that same story again and 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 again? You know, it's just ridiculous. I've never, as I'm sure is not going to come as a big surprise to any of you, I want to play a white-hatted hero about as much as I want to play a gnome. And that might be something that helps to put it into perspective for you. With my idea, a role-playing game is essentially almost like creating collectively a living organism, creating something that breathes and feels and thinks with passion and resounds, and it's just captured in your memory. Dude, I don't care about saving a princess, and I remember that +9 sword of bootiness that I got. I don't care about that. None of that matters to me. I want to have the ability to experience the character and to tell stories that are personal, that are interesting. And this is why fantasy games get knocked continually by a lot of people who are elite gamers. They look at them and they go, well, fantasy games are trash. Because it's run through the castle, save the princess, rinse, wash, repeat. Change the names, do it again, hit the dungeon, come out with the loot, good to go, wash it out, change it around a little bit, traps, and mushroom people, jump on them. For me, that's never what it's going to be about, not at all. And anyone that plays in my games would be alarmed. And the reason I kind of put this up is I was saying to him in the games, and I didn't even mean this, like in a dickish way. I was talking looking at those Goodman game modules, right? And I said, oh, these will be good, because I don't know if my style of running games, it might be vastly over complex for a child to understand. And when for like a 9 or 10-year-old, I could see that initial save the princess, rush, get the gold, boom, 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 could be kind of interesting. At this stage of life, I could not pull out one of those modules and run them for my players. I couldn't. Like, unless I somehow attempted to force them to do it, they would just wander off script. They would be like, well, yeah, that doesn't sound like what we're going to do. We're going to go over here and do something else instead. You know, they would just start wondering. I'm like, the module does not cover this. It does not cover it. Well, that's what our characters would do. Well, your characters would do that. But I got this module here I've read. Oh, no, we don't care about that. That doesn't matter to us at all. Because it doesn't invest. You're not invested. You don't have that personal hook, that motivation, if you will, maybe, to want to do that. Who cares about her? I mean, was this your character's sister, your girlfriend, your mother, a lover, something you've adored, an emotion, an investment into her? No. She's just there, and he's a rich dude. Well, you know what? Fuck you, a rich dude. All you do is be stealing money from people anyway. Let's investigate how you got that loot. You know, you're working your serf population here practically to death to get that loot. No, how about we just ransack your castle instead? Clearly, it is not difficult to do because someone we can go in and beat already came in and took your shit, so we're going to get the rest of it. You know, and that's, you know, just interjecting a little bit of levity and humor into the situation. But let's think about it. Why? Why do you care? Well, you're supposed to be good and do the right thing. It's weak. If you watch it as a movie, you'd be like, let me see what's not on the Sci-Fi Channel. Because we know they have some butt stuff, and that's what their movie's going to be, straight to sci-fi. Yeah, it's just a very bland concept. And I understand some people are going to game in that style. But you come to my channel to find out how to turn the knob up and the volume. Let's add some more. You know, let's get the high definition, not silent movie era. You know, there's a big difference in what we're doing and what we're going to be about. All my comment was to him there basically was, I think those are appropriate for like a 9 to 12-year-old. I don't know. How many of you out there love that kind of style, that, I guess you say classic feel? I mean, I would be honest, we crack that stuff, like, constantly. It's, you know, you, like, walk into the one room, and it's like a kobold, and then the next room is like a zombie. You're like, wait a minute, why is the zombie coming here and kill the kobold? Oh, no, you don't worry about that. Yeah, there's an owl bear in the next room. And then the digester is over there with the acid-born shark, and they're forming a tag team, the likes of which the world never wanted to see. And I don't want to see it. And, of course, traps. So, you know, there are a lot of things there I could pick apart. A lot of it comes down to maybe deadlines. Maybe like, hey, look, you got to write this module in 14 minutes. You know, I'm not saying that 14 minutes I can come up with anything better. But if you had to pay money for this, you know, I don't know. What's the real value outside of that brand new feel? You know, when you're crafting an adventure, and I'm not trying to pick on that specifically, because I read through them, and for what it was, they're not a tremendous amount of problems. It's not horrible. You understand? It's just too simplistic. If I, for example, to give you my group example, if I ran one of those legitimately and they played them, at the end they would be like, "Are you fucking stupid? Why'd you waste our time with this? Let's play your actual game. Was this a rib? Were you joking us? What's wrong with you?" That would generally be the feel of putting something like that together. You know, like I said, there's about, and again, if you haven't seen him, check his channel out, because there's a plug for him. He don't have enough subscribers. He does a good job with his videos. He's a good presentation point, which I quite honestly, just in YouTube overall, is something that's rather lacking, I think. So, and I'm not trying to, because God knows, I know you retro guys, you hate Evil-Lander, because I'll pull those things apart. And it's not that I pick on a particular style. I pick on anything that I don't think works, anything that I feel is bad. I think it was Gary Gygax that said, no gaming is better than bad gaming, wasn't it? He's old school, I suppose. So, and I thoroughly believe that. I've passed on way more games that I could have played in than I've actually ever played. Because I looked at them, I said, there's not the time, there's not the care, there's not the effort. When I bring a character in with emotional complexity, with psychological development, with flaws and imperfections, a character that needs polishing to become better, you know, you're going to be lost in a world of cookie cutters. And that's what that style of play really puts forward. Because why would you make the character that is flawed when there is no reward for your flaw, when it's not being used, when it's not going to get you spotlight, when it's not going to get you hooks, when it's not going to mean anything, when it's just prepackaged, programmed, and planned, and then that style. Now, you know I hate modules. I honestly, I think they're bad teaching tools for the most part because they're so full of stuff. And we could go through, I'm not going to say every module ever made was bad. There are, I'm sure, quite a few that are good. But if you just randomly grab one off the shelf, I mean, chances are, you know what I'm saying. It's like, man, roll me a double aught and you might have grabbed a good one. Otherwise, sorry. It's not going to be at all what you're looking for. And when you're denied the ability to create complexity in the game, you're going to have players get very, very bored. And they're not going to be interested in coming back there to go, oh, well, role-playing games are a silly, childish sort of thing, because that is taken from a silly, childish sort of point. Kill the bad guy, get the girl, get the gold. Everything that stands in front of us is bad. Okay? So, you can just run through it. You don't have to chance. You don't have to challenge yourself. You don't have to be over there and say, well, actually, should we be decimating this tribe of goblins? Should I be aligned with this baron or whatever? Because me, of course, I immediately start monkeying with stuff. Okay, well, the baron's really going to be more, not the heel. You don't have to be against it, but he has, he has his bad side too. And then the goblins are going to have their good side too. They're going to have their reason. It's like, well, hell, that was their land anyway. The people just came and started colonizing up. And we'll bring all this to the forefront. We'll put it all on the players. We'll make them make decisions. We'll push it upon them. And hopefully we can get the party divided. That's right. We like to divide the party over here. So that they are forced to engage in great role-playing. That is how you create drama. One of the big problems where you don't have role-playing in games, and really listen to this, man, because this is so important, because I see this all the time. I walk by, and the game master hits. This is when you really know your party's rocking and rolling. If you leave the table and come back like a freaking 45 minutes later, and they're all still in character, role-playing vigorously with each other, regardless if you're there, unconcerned about your presence as a bitch-ass game master. They want to role-play. They are engrossed. They are entertained. They want to have the connection by each other. Or the second you slipped away from the table, hell, you still sitting there, you turn this way. Are they trying to dip too? Are they dipping out of character? Are they uninterested in role? Are they not engrossed? Are they not engaged and enthralled by the roles that they themselves have created? They made the character, yet they're not even that interested in playing it. They don't want to milk every minute they can out of the game session. But when you get them hooked, when you get them to think about the drama, the complexity, right? Hell, I might have to just go on and take a break too if all we're doing is rinse, wash, repeat. This style. And a lot of people, again, they knock fantasy games because they've seen rinse, wash, repeat so much. Newsflash, for anyone out there that doesn't realize this, every level of complex role-playing possible can be brought into absolutely any genre. Any genre. I mean, you could be Big Eye Anime and have great, complex story with tremendous role-playing. And I can't think of a genre right off the top of my head that might be more repellent to most people's idea of what's going to idjit or good role-playing than that. But fantasy often comes in second. Lots of people won't play fantasy. Oh, I'll never play fantasy. They come and get my game. Oh, let's get this in it. Because you have role-playing complexity plus a tremendous amount of options under your umbrella, which are a wonderful tool. Options are wonderful. So, when you're limiting yourself, when you have all the ability to have moral dilemmas, to have psychological engagements, to have the ability to pull on the backstory of the characters to make things mean something, to engage them and enrage, enthrall, entice their passions, to allow them to engage in philosophical discussion, an attempt to convert or be converted, to indulge themselves in an occult practice. When you can put all that together, why are we saving the princess again?